36 feet per second up. 5 for the pitch over. Very smooth. Balance come long. Very quiet ride. There's that one crater down there.
Feet high, 80 feet per second vertical rise.
Eagle Houston, request manual start override. Roger.
2,600 feet altitude.
Here. Nope. Eagle Houston, 1 minute, you're looking good. Roger. Columbia, Houston, we need the 6-arm circuit breakers closed. Okay, going in, 6-arm bad A, and bad B. Columbia, Houston, logic looks good. You can arm your pyros at your convenience. Columbia starting to maneuver to TPI engine. Okay.
This is Apollo Control, about 6.5 minutes to ignition on the terminal phase maneuver, which the crew of Eagle will thrust along the line of sight toward Columbia. Distance now between the two spacecraft, some 38.6 nautical miles, closing at a rate of 110 feet per second.
All your solutions look good to us. Out. Mike, if you want our target Delta V, I'll give it to you.
Ready, copy.
127, 03, 3082. 20 plus 22.7, plus 1.7, minus 10.6. Over.
27, 03, 3082, plus 22.7, plus 1.7, minus 10.6. Thank you.
I'm showing a good bit out of plane velocity on my cross pointers, Mike.
Right, I have no indication of it. Coming up on 1 minute to take, Neil. How's it looking?
Pretty good. That data plane was in the eggs, not in the radar.
Roger that. Complete.
Read. Turn complete.
Roger, thank you.
Eagle Houston, that's Omni, low bit rate, and we'll see you at 127 plus 5-1. I'm not going to do a thing, Mike. I'm just letting her hold an attitude hold. agree with that, so you're very okay. Houston, Apollo 11, over.
Apollo 11, Houston, go.
Roger, I'm supposed to adjust the oxygen flow in this thing to 0.6 of a pound per hour, but being a down transducer is not working right. Can you give me an updated number?
Affirmative. You want to go ahead and adjust your O2 flow until it just goes off the peg. And then crank the direct O2 valve back down about 5 degrees. Over.
You're really waiting for that one, weren't you? Okay, Ron, thank you.
Apollo 11, Houston, how did it go? Over.
Open up the LRL doors, Charlie.
Roger, we got you coming home. It's well stocked.
Okay, burn status. Delta peak was 0. Burn time was 2 plus 30. Pad angle, delta ATX after trim was 0.1, VGY 0.9, VGC 0.1, Delta BC minus 17.9er. Fuel 10.6, aux 10.4, unbalanced minus 50.
Roger, copy, Neil. Sounds good to us. And Apollo 11, Houston, all your systems look real good to us. We'll keep you posted.
Roger. Thank you, Charlie. Boy, looking good here. That was a beautiful burn. They don't come any finer.
Roger. Apollo 11, Houston, I wondered if you compared your your state vector after TEI with the one in the limb slots. Over.
Yes, sir. That looked very nice. Group 83 was plus 00070 and minus 00008.
Roger. Houston, looking at your bank Bravo nitrogen tank, it didn't leak a bit. Correction, didn't leak a bit this time. Over.
You look good here. Chamber pressure was hanging in there around 100. The latter part of the burn, it started oscillating a little bit and got down a little bit below 100.
Roger.
86 or so.
Roger. Most of the conversation so far has been from Neil Armstrong and Mike Collins. That last comment came from Collins. Our first report after acquisition was from Neil Armstrong. That trans-earth injection burn was very close to nominal. At this time we show the spacecraft traveling at a speed of 7,603 feet per second, the velocity already beginning to drop off. And we're at an altitude of 445 nautical miles now from the moon. This is Apollo Control. We now show the spacecraft traveling at 7,378 feet per second, altitude 568 nautical miles. The next order of business will be to get the crew to sleep. Flight Director Gene Kranz requested his flight controllers prior to acquisition of signal to review their procedures and to take as many steps as possible to get the crew to sleep as soon as possible. There will be a press conference in the
Central Daylight Time. And our LAM telecommunications engineer reports that we've just had acquisition of signal from Eagle, which is still in lunar orbit. The last fix that we had on Eagle's orbit showed an apogee of 64.1 and a aposynthion rather of 64.1 and a perisynthion of 54.4 nautical miles. The spacecraft altitude is now climbed to almost 700 nautical miles from the moon. We show a weight of 26,510 pounds, about 10,000 pounds less than what we had, actually about 1,100 or 11,000 pounds. Let's correct that, about 10,100 pounds less than what we had prior to the trans-Earth injection burn.
Apollo 11, Houston, would you give us to and accept? We got a rest net for you, over. Okay, thank you. Apollo 11, Houston, we got the load in. You can go back to block, over. We're there. Right. North Command Module film seems to be working out pretty well, Charlie. The amount we carried, looks like we carried just about what we needed. Wonderful. We have one 16mm roll of the ASA 1000 color interior film. We were thinking of shooting that here in the entry, window number 4 on a bracket, and you might get the camera guy sometime in the next couple of days to give us all a good setting for that. Roger.
This is Apollo Control. The flight dynamics officer reports that the burn was very nominal, almost precisely as planned. The burn duration was about 3 seconds long, but the velocity change was almost precisely what we had been expecting. At the present time, Apollo 11 is 1,076 nautical miles from the moon. The velocity continuing to drop off down now to 6,698 feet per second. This is Apollo Control at 136 hours, 44 minutes. Apollo 11 is now 3,720 nautical miles from the moon and traveling at a speed of 5,367 feet per second. During the press conference, we accumulated about 4 minutes of taped conversation with the crew. The crew reports at this time that they are completing taking pictures and getting ready to realign their guidance system platform. We'll pick up the taped conversations and then stand by for any following live communications with the crew. We anticipate that they will be shortly beginning their pre-sleep checklist in preparation for a well-deserved rest period.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. I wondered if during the PEI burn you utilized the oxidizer flow valve on the pugs, over. Yes, we did. Based on your very excellent briefing, I was expecting the thing to continue desiring increase for the whole time, so we started out with it in increase. And I saw that we pretty quickly crossed the line and started falling about 6 to 7% behind. So I was still expecting it to move up, then I went down to full decrease and brought it back down to a difference of 2% over. Right, thank you very much, Buzz. 0.2%, I'm sorry. Right, thank you.
Apollo 11, Houston, you can go to... No, sir.
Who is that?
Jay Green.
Howdy, Jay.
11, Houston, we have a DAP CSM update for you.
Go ahead.
Roger, CSM weight, Mike 26370, over.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Roger, understand.
Apollo 11, Houston. Mike, did you notice any transients at ignition on DEI, over?
That transient's more noticeable than on previous burns, Charlie. I just wrote it off the bow after the first 20 seconds or so. The gimbals were quiet and pitch and yaw were relatively quiet. Before that, there was some oscillation, but mostly just in rate. Total attitude hung in there pretty well.
Roger, thank you much. We were looking at the playback and we saw some things that right at startup. We'll be back with you later on that.
Okay.
Apollo 11, Houston, have you finished taking pictures, over?
We're just finishing up, Charlie.
Roger.
Let's get started on our PSSPQ here pretty soon.
Copy.
Another 8 or 9 hours.
This is Apollo Control. That brings us up to date with the taped conversation, and we'll stand by for any further live communication from the crew before they begin their sleep period. We've gotten some preliminary figures from the flight dynamics officer on that trans-earth injection burn after a review of the telemetry data. And it shows that our change in velocity was nominal, 3,283.5 feet per second. We also show a nominal burn time of 2 minutes 28 seconds. The crew reported the burn time about 2 to 3 seconds long. Based on their onboard data, the ground data shows the burn to have been just about nominal. Based on the preliminary tracking, it would appear that the splashdown would occur almost precisely as predicted or planned in the flight plan. That would be at 195 hours, 18 minutes, 40 seconds ground elapsed time. And we would expect that splashdown time to change somewhat during the trans-earth coast, particularly as the need or lack of need for mid-course corrections becomes more apparent with additional tracking. At this time, Apollo 11 is 4,086 nautical miles from the moon and traveling at almost precisely 1 mile per second, 5,283 feet per second, and that's just updated to 5,280 feet per second.
Oh, Apollo 11, Houston, you can crank up on the PTC at any time, over.
All right, Joe.
Apollo 11, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Right, 11, this is the regional Capcom. Congratulations on an outstanding job. You guys have really put on a great show up there. I think it's about time you power down and got a little rest over. You've had a mighty long day here. Hope you're all going to get a good sleep on the way back. We'll look forward to seeing when you get back here. Don't fraternize with any of those bugs en route, except for the hornet.
Okay, thank you, boss. We're looking forward to a little rest and a restful trip back, and see you when we get there.
Right, you've earned it.
That exchange was between Donald K. Deeks Layton, Director of Flight Crew Operations at the Manned Spacecraft Center, and astronaut Neil Armstrong.
Hello, Apollo 11 Houston. We'd like you to turn off O2 tank number 1 heaters, over. It's off, thank you. Roger. Hello, Apollo 11 Houston. For your information, the LGC and Eagle just went belly up after 7 hours, over. Okay, very good. This was death for the real winners there. Charlie, we're going to rotate about pitch 270 degrees on the way home, vice 090 on the way out, right? Right, sir. Okay, Ver 49 maneuver to that attitude is in progress. Roger. Status report, radiation CDR 11017, CMP 10019, LFP 09020, no medication. Say again, please, Neil. You were breaking up. We missed that, over. Okay, this is crew status report, radiation CDR 11017, CMP 10019, LFP 09020, no medication. Roger, thank you. And we didn't get a crew status report from you this morning. Wondered if you could give us an estimate of sleep last night, over. Thank you. Okay, we'll take a guess at Charlie and try to give us equivalent amount and call it CDR 3 and LFP 4. Right, thank you very much. And Charlie, you want the fan cycle thing, that's right? That's affirmative, and we'd like you to disable quads Charlie and Delta, over. Apollo 11 Houston, if it's convenient, we'd like to go through your onboard readout, over. What? Oh, excuse me, that's on the flight plan 3102. We'd like BATS and RCS, over. Ready to copy it? Roger, go ahead. Charlie 370, Pyro BAT A 370, BAT B 370, RCS 55, 65, 64, and 62, over. Roger, we copy all that. Thank you much. Apollo 11 Houston, a couple of questions for the moonwalkers, if you got a second, over. Go ahead. Right, Neil, we're seeing some temperature rises on the passive seismic experiment that are a little higher than normal, and we're wondering if you could verify the deployed position. We understand it's about 40 feet from the limb in the 11 o'clock position, over. No, it's about in the 9 or 9:30 position, and I'd say it's about 50 or 60 feet. Roger, copy. Also, did you notice, was there any indication of any dust cloud as you listed off, over? Not very much. There was quite a bit of Kapton and parts of the limb that went out in all directions, usually for great distances, as far as I can tell. But I don't remember seeing anything of a dust cloud to speak of. Roger, I understand all you could see was parts of the limb going out. What was your first comment, over? I don't remember. Just could see Kapton and other was the LEM staging scattering all around the area for great distances, but I didn't see much dust.
Right. Thank you very much.
This is Apollo Control at 137 hours, 27 minutes. At this time, Apollo 11 is traveling at a speed of about 4,982 feet per second. It is about 5,900 nautical miles from the moon and about 198,900 nautical miles from Earth. A short while ago, you heard Neil Armstrong make a few descriptive comments of the scene on the lunar surface at the time the LEM ascent stage lifted off. Armstrong reported seeing very little dust, but quite a bit of debris from the LEM. He referred to the kapton, which is a plastic-like insulation material, generally silver or gold in color, which is found on the outside surfaces of the LEM. We also had a report at 136 hours, 54 minutes, about 40 minutes or so ago, that the LEM guidance computer had finally stopped putting out any data, and that was about 7 hours, 13 minutes after the primary guidance system was deprived of the coolant in a test of how long the system would continue to operate without coolant. The platform apparently began to become unusable after about 4 hours, and the computer itself finally gave up after about 7 hours and 13 minutes. Both items going considerably longer than had previously been predicted. The lunar module ascent stage still in lunar orbit. We're continuing to get data from it. All other systems appear to be functioning well at this time. The LEM orbit we show is currently 64.4 nautical miles for height of apocynthion, 54.4 nautical miles for pericynthion. The LEM is in its 23rd revolution. Now here's a call to the crew. Over.
Roger, Charlie. I'd like to bring you up to date on our chlorination status. In compartment B4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Correction, we have 8 pockets for chlorine and buffer ampules, of which, let me correct that. We have 7 pockets, which one is empty and always has been empty, leaving 6 remaining. And the other side over there in B7, we have another container with 7 pockets. So we have a total of 7 plus 6. And those are filled with 6 chlorines and 7 buffers. Now I've been using 1 chlorine and 1 buffer per day, which at this point in time, prior to this chlorination I'm about to do, leaves me 1 chlorine and 2 buffers. Seems to me I'm 1 chlorine short, and that being the case, I'd like to ask your advice on postponing this chlorination using the last container until some later date, like maybe tomorrow. Over.
Roger, we copy, Mike. Stand by.
Apollo 11, Houston, check in A1, Mike, and see what you can find in there, over. We think you might have some more chlorine up in A1, over. Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. Apollo 11, Houston, do you read? You're breaking up, over. Roger 11, you're breaking up. Mike, please look in compartment A1. We think there might be some more chlorine up there, over. Houston, reading you about 1 bar, over. Houston, we're having a downlink problem. The reason we can't read you, we're switching sites. Stand by. Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. How do you read now, over? Fine. Right, you're 5 by now too, Mike. Thank you much. Did you copy that about A1 on the chlorine? Eureka! How about that, sports fans? Apollo 11, Houston, we're having a little trouble getting the yaw rate damped out to appropriate value. We'd like y'all to be quiet like mice for a couple of minutes, and let's see if that'll help it out, over. 11, Houston, you did great work there. We're ready to spin it up, over. Houston, did you copy, over? We read you, Charlie. We just came by it. Roger. No hurry. 11, Houston, shift change time here. White team bids you good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Over. Hey, Charlie. Thank you. Hey, Charlie. Thank you. Adios. Adios. Thanks again for a great show, you guys. Thanks for a great job down here.
This is Apollo Control at 137 hours 52 minutes. Apollo 11 crew has signed off for the night. Charlie where the wake-up time is not critical. Very likely we'll let them sleep till they wake up of their own accord. At this time, Columbia is 7,045 nautical miles away from the moon, headed toward home at a velocity of 4,868 feet per second. This is Apollo Control at 138 hours 2 minutes. Capcom Owen Garriott has just put in a call to the crew and is passing up some antenna information to them. Here's that conversation.
Howdy there, Mike. We're ready to go ahead and have you switch to your Omni position for your sleep period. And we would like the following high gain switch positions. Your high gain antenna in manual, beam width wide, pitch is -50, and yaw is a +270. And just follow the flight plan for remaining comm configuration. Over. Your comm is pretty weak at this point, Mike. Please say again.
Coming at 137 hours, 55 minutes elapsed time. At that time, the battery power fell below the level where the secondary guidance system could hold the attitude of the vehicle within the steerable antenna limits. We do not expect to establish contact with Eagle again. We'll continue to stand by here live. There may be a little bit more conversation before. This is Apollo Control at 138 hours and 11 minutes. We do not intend to contact the crew during this rest period again. We'll take this line down now and come back up if there is further conversation. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 139 hours. Crew of Apollo 11 is in the rest period. We have not contacted them within the last hour and have not heard from them. All systems aboard the spacecraft performing well. Apollo 11 is now 10,149 nautical miles from the moon, approaching the Earth at a velocity of 4,659 feet per second. Spacecraft weight is 26,510 pounds. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 140 hours. Apollo 11 is now 12,835 nautical miles from the moon. Velocity 4,552 feet per second. All systems still performing well. Dr. Kenneth Beers, the flight surgeon, reports his data indicates all three of the crewmen are asleep. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 141 hours. Apollo 11
is 15,488 nautical miles from the moon. Velocity 4,480 feet per second. Crew is still asleep. All systems continuing to perform very well. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 142 hours, 3 minutes. Apollo 11 is 18,243 nautical miles from the moon. Velocity 4,426 feet per second. Apollo 11 is in the passive thermal control mode. Performance of all systems nominal, and the crew is asleep. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 143 hours. Apollo 11 is 20,704 nautical miles from the moon. Velocity 4,390 feet per second. Crew still in a rest period. The Weather Bureau's Spaceflight Meteorology Group reported this morning that weather conditions in the primary landing area are expected to be acceptable. Sky partly cloudy, winds easterly at 10 knots, and seas of 3 feet are predicted. Tropical storm Claudia is now located 2,300 miles east of the landing area and will not affect the weather in the landing area Thursday. This is Mission Control, Houston. Conditions, which would primarily be for corridor control, controlling the flight path angle at entry, and the current predicted splash time in the Pacific is 195 hours, 17 minutes, 25 seconds. At the present time, Apollo 11 is 172,654 nautical miles from the Earth, traveling at a speed of 4,017 feet per second. We estimate that the spacecraft will be halfway home at a ground elapsed time of 159 hours, 53 minutes, 43 seconds. At that point, the spacecraft will be 145,583 nautical miles from the Earth's surface, and we'll have completed half of the return trip, measured from lunar orbit insertion to splashdown. We also have another figure that would be for the time at which the spacecraft velocity is equal with respect to both the Earth and the Moon. At that point, the velocity will be 4,300 feet per second with respect to both bodies. And we would define this as the equal potential point. That will occur at 155 hours, 30 minutes. And at that time, the spacecraft will be 156,874 nautical miles from the Earth, 52,543 nautical miles from the Moon. We're now 1 hour, 28 minutes, 26 seconds from ignition for the mid-course correction 5 maneuver. Apollo 11, this is Houston, over. Roger, if Neil has a free minute, we've got a question or two regarding the CO2 partial pressure and water in the suit loop discrepancies noted yesterday, over.
Go ahead.
Roger 11, was water noted in both suits or only in yours, Neil?
I think only in my suit.
Okay, can you locate that occurrence for us in time when you first noticed water in the suit, either by mission time or relation to any particular event?
I think it was after insertion sometime, Bruce. I don't remember exactly when. It was when we were in orbit and after we took our helmets off.
Roger, did you call it to us when you first noticed it, or was it sometime after when you called it?
I guess it might have been probably 20 minutes after I noticed it, but I mentioned it to you.
Roger, was this noticing the water accompanied by erratic CO2 partial pressure readings, or was that a separate problem, over?
Well, the water problem evidenced itself before we noted any erratic motions of the PCO2 gauge.
Roger, and what was the relative sequence on selecting water separator number 2 and the secondary CO2 canister? That is, did you go to the secondary water separator first and then secondary CO2, over?
I believe we went to secondary CO2 first. Secondary hot document. Where's my document?
Roger, we copy. And was there any change in your suit loop count? Go ahead.
I should mention, Bruce, that when I went to water separator to secondary, I didn't notice any change, but about after 15 minutes or 20 minutes, the water stopped coming out. So maybe that was just water that was already in the loop that was still blowing out, but the secondary water separator was operating properly.
Roger, did you make any changes in the suit loop configuration after you went from the egress mode to the cabin mode after insertion? That is, in particular, they're interested in knowing if you recall changing the diverter valve to position to egress at any time while you were on the secondary canister, over.
No, I don't believe we did that at all, Bruce.
Okay, 11, thank you. That sums up our questions for now, and we'll crank these back into the engineering pipeline and see what we can come up with.
Okay, are you satisfied that the CO2 circuit breaker was in Genesis, over?
Say again, please.
Roger, on Lem Jettison, are you satisfied that the CO2 circuit breaker was in, over?
Yes, it was in.
Can you confirm that? I thought there was some question after we got into the command module as to whether that had been left in or not, over.
Roger, 11, it was in and confirmed in, and the readings after jettison stayed about 0.1 to 0.2. This is Apollo Control at 149 hours, 41 minutes. We're now about 49 minutes away from the first mid-course correction on this trans-Earth leg of the Apollo 11 flight. That maneuver will be a 4.8 foot per second burn of the spacecraft reaction control system thrusters. and is scheduled to occur at a ground elapsed time of 150 hours, 29 minutes, 54 seconds. At this time, Apollo 11 is 171,017 nautical miles from the Earth, and the spacecraft velocity is 4,043 feet per second.
Houston, Apollo 11, over.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Roger. I wonder if you've noticed any change in the biometric turn you're getting, over.
Negative, Buzz. It still looks kind of bad. Apparently when you move around, it's cutting in and out. Have you checked the little electrical connector where it goes into the signal conditioner, over?
Yes, they're all decided to be. I tell you what, I'll take them off and put them back on again. See if that makes a difference.
Okay, if you would, at your convenience. We'll be watching it down here. This is Apollo Control at 150 hours, 4 minutes. Telemetry data at this time shows the spacecraft in the proper attitude for the upcoming mid-course correction maneuver. The crew will soon be verifying their attitude by taking a sighting on a star through the sextant, and then be running some tests on the guidance and control system and the reaction control system before the maneuver takes place. That burn now scheduled to come in a little over 25 minutes. Apollo 11 is now 170,102 nautical miles from the Earth, and the spacecraft velocity is 4,058 feet per second. Apollo 11, this is Houston. We'd like you to try acquisition on the high gain antenna for us at pitch -90, yaw 270, over.
Roger, that's the work.
Roger out. This is Houston. We're showing about 6.8% on wastewater on our telemetry now, over.
Okay, got about 9 up here, over.
Roger out. 11 Houston, we're standing by for your burn. Everything's looking good from down here.
Thank you, Bruce. You got about a minute and 20 seconds.
Roger, we concur. Minute now until mid-course correction number 5. That will be a 10.9-second burn of the spacecraft reaction control system thrusters, giving a change of velocity retrograde of 4.8 feet per second. The primary purpose of this maneuver will be to control the spacecraft flight path angle at entry interface. Now less than 30 seconds from the initiation of the burn. They should be burning at this time. And we show the burn off.
Can you copy our residuals?
Roger, we've got your residual fuel counter reading for us.
Delta BC is plus 0.2.
Roger, plus 0.2.
That was actually plus 100.2, okay?
Okay.
That mid-course correction was performed at a distance of about 169,000 nautical miles from the Earth. The spacecraft velocity 4,075.6 feet per second. This is Apollo Control at 150 hours 35 minutes. Our telemetry data here on the ground shows that mid-course correction maneuver just about nominal, burn duration 10.5 seconds. Prior to the maneuver, we were predicting a splashdown time of 195 hours, 17 minutes, 25 seconds. We expect there will be some modification to that after we've had a chance to do some tracking following this mid-course correction maneuver. Apollo 11 is now 168,843 nautical miles from the Earth, traveling at a speed of 4,078 feet per second. And we're continuing to see a very slow build-up in the velocity.
Houston, Apollo 11.
Go ahead, 11.
Roger, we're in PTC attitude, and would you please give us a call when our thruster activity has subsided sufficiently?
Roger, stand by. Apollo 11, this is Houston. We're going to hand over from Madrid to Goldstone at 151 hours even. If you should lose lock on the high gain at this time, you may reacquire at pitch -45, yaw 270. Break, we're still watching your rates, over. Apollo 11, this is Houston, over. Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Houston.
11, we're still seeing rates on your spacecraft above those that we'd like for a continuation of the PTC mode. We're still monitoring it, and we'll advise you when it's settled down, over.
This is Apollo Control at 151 hours, 11 minutes. The crew is presently setting up the spacecraft for passive thermal control. Once it stabilizes out, We'll begin a slow roll rate of 3 revolutions per hour to maintain temperature control. At the present time, Apollo 11 is 167,448 nautical miles from the Earth, and the velocity is 4,101 feet per second.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Your go for the spin up on PTC, over.
Thank you. Houston, Apollo 11, over.
Go ahead, 11.
It didn't like it that time. When I got down to the entry 27303 enter, it took off and roll at a high rate in excess of 1 degree per second, over. So I've stopped it now, and we're going to have to go back and do it over again. I'd like to try to find out the reason why it did that.
Roger, you might as well start setting up for it, and we'll be working the problem here.
Okay, do you have us on high bit rate here, Ned?
Affirmative.
Okay, good. I'll maneuver back to PTC initiation attitude while you guys look at the data and see what you think.
Roger.
Houston, Apollo 11, I think the reason is in having 1620 on the diff key during the subsequent entries. Or at least that's one possibility.
Roger, we'll check it out. Apollo 11, this is Houston. While you're waiting for the CSM to settle down and for us to look at the tapes on your latest maneuver, would you feel like answering some more questions with relation to the lunar surface, over? Roger, for $64,000, we're still trying to work out the location of your landing site, Tranquility Base. We think it is located on LAM2 chart at Juliet .5 and 7.8. Do you still have those charts on board, over?
Stand by on your back.
Roger, you may not have to unpack it. The position which I just gave you is slightly west of West Crater. I guess it's about 0.2 of a kilometer west of it. And we were wondering if Neil or Buzz had observed any additional landmarks during descent, lunar stay, or ascent which would confirm or disprove this. One thing that we were wondering about is that if you were at this position, you would have seen the cat's paw during ascent just up to the north of your track, over.
We were looking for the cat's paw too, thinking we were probably downrange beyond those Big Z. But I think that it's likely that that might have been West Crater that we went across in landing, but stand by. We're hoping, Bruce, that our 16mm film was working at that point in descent, and we'll be able to confirm our touchdown position. We thought that during ascent we might be able to pick up some recognizable objects close to the landing site, and we did see a number of small craters and crater rows and things like that, which we may be able to pick out after the fact, but we haven't been able to yet.
Oh, Roger. And the next question from our panelist was Buzz. We recall that he reported seeing a laser upon AOS of the Earth the first rev after ascent, and we're wondering what color the beam was and if he could determine its approximate location with respect to the Earth. Over.
It was mostly white, perhaps a tinge of yellowish color to it, and it seems to be, I recall it, the terminator of the Earth was toward the horizon, and about a quarter to a third of the way down toward the terminator of the Earth from the opposite horizon. That's a third to a quarter Earth radii. Over.
Roger, and that puts it in the light side. Over.
Roger, yes, it was in the light side. The Earth was about two-thirds lit Earth. The terminator down toward the horizon. Now coming from the opposite limb of the Earth, the sunlit limb, coming down about 1/4 to 1/3 of a radius in from the limb. Generally centrally located with respect to a line drawn perpendicular to the terminator that goes through the center. Over.
Roger, Buzz, we copy.
I got pictures of that. I'm sure that'll show up. And I saw that too. It was a very bright spot of light, and I confirmed Buzz's observation of its position.
Okay, 11, very good. Now, with respect to the documented sample container, on television it appeared to us as though the samples for that container were in fact being selected in accordance with some thought or consideration being given to the rocks themselves. And we were wondering if you could give any further details from memory about any of these samples and the context of the material or the surface from which they were taken. Over.
Yes, if you remember, I initially started on the side of the limb that the TV camera was on, and I took a number of samples of rocks on the surface and several that were just subsurface. About 15 to 20 feet north of the limb. And then I recalled that area had been probably swept pretty well by the exhaust of the descent engine. So I crossed over to the southern side of the limb and took a number of samples from the area around the elongate double crater that we commented on, and several beyond that, and tried to take as many different types of rock types as I could see by eye as I could in the short time we had available. There were a number of other samples that I had seen earlier in our stroll around the lab that I had hoped to get back and pick up and put in the documented sample, but I didn't get those, and I'll be able to comment on those in detail when we get in the debriefing session.
Oh, Roger. Did you observe any small craters with conspicuously blocky rims? Over.